Good morning, everyone. All right, then. I want to welcome you to our session today. We are all in this together, co-parenting one-on-one. I wanted to play my music, but we're a little behind schedule this morning. You know that music, we're in this love together. You missed it. But we want to welcome you again. My name is Dr. Tanya Thomas, and we have Feliciano Lewis here today, and we are bringing you all greetings from the Peach State of Georgia. Now I'm gonna get a little bit deeper. We're from South Georgia. Anybody know where that is? The southern part of South Georgia? Who?
Where you from? I'm
Atlanta. Sometimes anybody heard
From
about
Valdosta.
Georgia?
The winningest football program in the nation. We actually came up here and lost last year to a team from Ohio. We're still not happy about that. So we're looking to come back.
It might not be on. Yeah. This must be
Yeah.
the.
It's on? Okay. Now I'm real loud now. So if it's not on, it's not on. All right.
Okay, if you can advance the slide for me. Just a little bit. Oh. Just a little bit about me. Not a whole lot, just a little bit about me. Again, my name is Dr. Tanya Thomas. I am the Executive Director and the Head Start Director for Coastal Plain Area EOA Incorporated. Again, we're located in Valdosta, Georgia. We are in 10 counties within our area. We have a pretty widespread organization. We are a community action agency. Of you all who all knows about a community action agency, we do a one-stop shop. We have community service block grant, weatherization, LIHEAP, which is the low income heating assistance program. And our biggest grant is Head Start. So we're working with all that. We have about on a good day, 175 employees. You all know the struggle that Head Start is going through, not just Head Start, but the Community Action Agency. But we have 50. I'm gonna add 2 on there. 50 children. We did a reduction. We have 650 children. So when I say that, when we talk about co-parenting, can you imagine how many parents that flow through us? Almost 2,000. And that does not include, mom and dad. That is also their their caregivers also. All right, Lewis. Next slide.
All right. I'm not doing glamour shots. I want to keep it real because a lot of my stuff, I do it with men. So I'm not going to go take the glamour shots like some people, like my co-parent. I'm Feliciano Lewis, actually 28-year educator, special ed coach. I've coached it all. So I've had many parents. I'm certified fatherhood facilitator. Yeah, I did 5 years as a pre-K teacher. I'm telling you, that's my best job. I'm telling you, that was the best. You got to play Santa Claus. You got to put the all kinds of stuff. And I love the outside play. I really should have a certification in outside play. Graduate of West Georgia, father of 2. One name is Zelle, and the other one name is Cash App. Yeah, they I don't know their names. I have to call sometime. That's the only time they call their daddy, but anyway, so, and I'm also a co-parent, very unique situation, even with us. Yeah, we co-parent with my godson. So I get to get all the good stuff and be like, you want to stop. Or I get to tell him, check this out. He want a new car. Boy, be quiet. She got it. Just hold up. I got you. So we actually, not only do we co-parent within the job, because she's talking about the 650, I'm going to tell you about the staff. We co-parent them too. Okay. So you're really getting a live session here. We love it. We have fun with it. Doc told you about Head Start. I know a lot of y'all like Healthy Start. We trying to get a little bit more in it, but let me tell you, Mr. Harrison, he's a Head Start baby, so he got it from us. Yeah, that's how I play. All right. But anyway, we're going to move on.
Okay, next slide for me. this is a little bit about our objectives. We're going to talk about co-parenting, understanding the challenges and the benefits, and exploring tools and strategies for supporting co-parents. Next slide. We do an interactive workshop. So I do want you all to be involved, because I don't want to be the only one talking. And a lot of times we receive a lot of good information from our participants that are in the audience. So we're going to ask, can anyone tell me what you see? Or tell me, what do you think this child is feeling? Yes, sir. Okay, Lewis, you're going to make his get his steps in today. Over here. Okay.
Hold up, I bought this guy a ticket. This guy got to work. Y'all see how I co-parent? Yeah. Yeah, he got to come in here for free today.
Okay, right back here in the back. Go ahead, sir.
Probably child probably tired of the argument. I see that a lot. Excuse me, child's probably tired of listening to the parents scream and yell back and forth. But that's the picture, seeing a father in the background, you see a hand, possibly the mother's hand. They're talking. He's probably tired of the argument that they're doing.
You know what, and it's funny, you're the only one that picked up on that hand. That's the first time I even noticed that, also that extra hand there. Anyone else wants to share about what they see in the slide? Yes, ma'am.
Give her a little volume over there.
Stressed out from the arguing.
Stressing out from the argument. Anyone else? And then one more person.
It's that overwhelm.
Overwhelming? Okay. He's
Okay.
overwhelmed.
Next slide, sir. What do you think going on in that one? Tug of war. Anything else?
Who is she looking at? Okay.
So what do you think the conversation, either from the parent point of view of the conversation, or what do you think she's thinking also?
They're making her choose.
Mm.
And then I see her looking at her dad like, please, dad, please. Yes.
Mm.
Okay.
He's looking at him because she's picturing him as the savior. Anyone else?
Okay.
Okay, next slide. I just want to let you all just kind of look at this. I use this picture a lot. When you withhold co-parenting, or when you withhold one parent against the child, or cannot, or either there's difficulties and bickering back and forth, who suffers the most? And look at his posture. Do you, and I always ask the parents, do you withhold visits from the other parent? Do you use your child as a pawn or bargaining chip in fighting over family property? Do you use your child as a go-between to resolve issues with your partner, former partner? And do you argue with the other parent in front of your child? Do you use them to spy? Do you speak separately about and angrily about the former spouse in front of your child? Do you use your child to pass on information? And do you compare to the other parent? Because this is what you receive. And I'm speaking even from the Head Start point of view. I was a parent also. And from the parent, I was a former Head Start parent. Also, I was a teacher and also a family service person, advocate. So we have children coming in with all types of circumstances. And I always use the luggage. Sometimes the children are coming in already with their own baggage. They're fearful. They're embarrassed. Then you have the other luggage that's piled on top that they're coming in from their parents also. And so as they're bringing all of that in, you're having a situation where behaviors occur a lot. You're having a situation, wedding, crying, physical, mental. So you're having all of these concerns, and who are they left with? The teachers. So now we're trying to figure them out. So that's a huge concern. Louis, you have anything you want to ask?
So when you actually see, I want to ask this question. How many co-parents we have in here? Raise your hand. Okay, we got a good audience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we finna talk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, y'all ready to have some fun? What are some of your challenges? The mother? Okay, what about it? What your father got? Go ahead.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Vic. Yeah, the mother. I'm gonna give an example. The other day, I was just telling my brother earlier a minute ago, that yesterday, actually the other day, my daughter got in trouble at work, and she got they fired her, and she didn't tell her mom. And then so I was texting her because I'm over here and she's over there, and I'm texting my daughter. She's not responding, so I reached out to her mother. And I guess she didn't tell her mother she got fired. And the mother calls me, she's asking me, well, she's not asking me.
Mm-hmm.
She's telling me,
Mm.
right? What's going on? What did she tell you? And I'm afraid to share what my daughter told me because I don't trust the mother.
Mm.
Because as soon as I tell her something, she go run and tell my daughter, and then my daughter calls me and then she tells me, you're a snitch.
So you're in between. And so the daughter is also in between also.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, which is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, because it's your fault now. Yeah, okay.
But I want to ask you, and I'm sure you know, how do you feel? Oh, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest, because my financial health. I think that's my biggest obstacle that I'm dealing with right now.
Because you want everybody to get along, be on one page.
So here it was, you were trying to do the right thing, support both of them.
Yeah.
And in that, you actually got in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
And we're not in a perfect world.
So when you said that, basically how you feel and that type stuff, one of the things that really they're talking about, I heard them up here earlier. This is where, when we lead to the fatherhood side of it, and this is where you're all going to get two different perspectives here from the mother and from the father. Your day was ugged up, right? It was messed up. Because here it is, I want to make sure, I don't want to sit here and step on your toes in any kind of way. But at the same time, I got to make sure my baby girl is good. So now you got to sit here and come talk. And I'm glad you had a brother to talk to about that. Y'all, as we're doing this, it is so vital that when you're doing the co-parenting thing, that you got to have that person to talk to. Okay? I want to go to the whole mental. He went through a mental side where I don't just want to talk about what he experienced with the daughter. He went through a mental side of all of that.
Right.
Okay? Let down. Did I do right? All the things that sit here and drag men into depression.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if you seen it today. They were talking, one of the guys that used to do sports science for ESPN. He died yesterday, dealing with depression. I can tell you, and that been there. My brother, 40 years old, big time in the community, doing a lot of stuff, frustrated. I got 9 kids, 8 baby mamas. So he co-parenting all over the place. Had just had a quadruple heart bypass. Yeah, his way out was a 40 to his head. The mental health side, because he was sitting there, he was trying to sit here with his daughters. He's supposed to have spent some time with them, but it came up something with the mama. Now the wife is pregnant, but I don't know if I'm gonna be a daddy because I just had quadruple bypass. That was his way out.
And being stuck in the middle.
Being stuck in the middle. And I'm talking about, y'all, he wasn't no Head Start dad. He wasn't none of that. He was a young man that actually, another failure in his life, he failed the Florida bar by 3 points. Okay? So when you're dealing with this, and I know, just like what they were talking about up here, I love women. I love my wife. I love my mom. I love that. But if we don't sit here and really start looking at the mental side and be able to help, we got to be able to work together.
Right. And somebody's going to get hurt, somebody's not going to get their way one way or the other. And, as you make the decision, it has to be the best decision. And I hate to say for both parties. And, it may not be, you always say, it may not be what's best for you. And even as children, they're still growing and they're still developing. So that's one thing that you and the other party is going to have to sit down and talk about too. Yes, sir.
Good morning. I'm gonna
morning.
be very transparent. I'm always transparent with my testimony, with my life. So, I want to say about 4 years ago, my daughter came to me. The years before that, I already knew something was going on with my daughter because she got real depressed. So on Christmas Eve, about 4 years ago, she came to my house and we were sitting there talking and she started to cry.
Mm.
So I said, what's going on? Like, what happened? And my daughter confessed to me that she was raped during her senior year. And that crushed me.
Mm.
And I said, Tay, why wouldn't you had told me that? And she told her mother. She didn't tell me. She told her mom. And when she told her mother said, that's what you get. You shouldn't have been over there. So that's why she fell into depression. So I said, well, Tay, why wouldn't you tell me? So just a little backstory. I did 14 years in prison. I'm a big community, changed my life around. I'm in the ministry. I'm a big community leader. In my community, I have an organization called KOP, Keep the Kids Out of Prison. So she said, Dad, you were doing so good when you got home. I knew if I told you, you would have went back to
Oh,
jail.
wow.
I would have lost you again. So that was a tug of war in my
Mhm.
heart and in my mind that my child is watching me change my life around. She doesn't want to lose me again. And she couldn't come to me was the most intimate thing that hurt her in life. And that part, and I haven't even still told her mother that she told me. Cause she like, Dad, just, I just had to give her moment. I didn't even ask her who did it.
Mhm.
She's like, Dad, it took me 3 years to tell you this. Now we're going to work from this to here and just
Right.
let me go at my own pace. And I embraced her on it.
Mm.
But like I said, the co-parenting part, that was hard for me because I was like I failed her. You know what I mean? But it wasn't my fault, but she was looking out as a child. She was looking out for my feelings and my well-being. Like I can't lose my dad again. I know he's going to go crazy. I know my dad's going to go to jail for the rest of his life
Mhm.
if I tell him this in this moment. And so yeah, I went through that. So it was crazy.
Thank you for that, brother.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna say to you, no, you ain't failed her. She came to you because she knew you loved her.
Mhm.
She knew you loved her, and now you are at a place that you could deal with that because she has seen your growth.
Yeah.
So, my brother, thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
And I have to say, what I see is true admiration and respect. Your daughter admires you and respects you.
Yes.
So I thank you.
So I was going to say that my children are grown now, but when I was co-parenting,
Mhm.
I guess we still kind of no, not really. They all grown. But my current husband
Mhm.
worked with my ex-husband. I never really had to talk to my ex-husband. My current husband navigated the space for him. So he set up the appointments and when they
Oh.
needed to exchange children and things like that. So I didn't have to be present. So they worked that out. And I guess we're grandparenting now, so it's a little different.
It is.
And so the conversations are a little different because I really have to explain to my grandchildren that there's, like, I don't not like him, but he's also not my friend,
Right.
right? And so I have to say, that's your grandfather, and that's okay that you love all of these but I'm clear that they love me the most out of everybody
You know
anyway.
what?
But just to say that sometimes the other parent, like you can get your spouse to navigate that if you can, like it's something that we tried and it kind of worked because we didn't have that level. And I think as a female fatherhood practitioner, we're able to say to women the
Mhm.
things that men can't say to
Say,
them.
right.
And so the advantage that I have and my staff has is that I can call the co-parent and say, girl, just really stop playing.
Right,
okay?"
exactly.
You know, those
I
kind of
was-
things
yeah.
that the men should never say, we get
Mhm.
to say.
Mhm. Yeah, I always say, take a look at yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
take a look at yourself. And I'll be going through the same situation. I have grandchildren that are in Utah, and they are coming south to see me, my family, and they haven't seen my I'm a teenage mom. So they haven't seen their other grandfather. And my son and his father, they got along for a while and they kind of grew apart. So now it's the other explanation, because I do feel bad about bringing them here and not letting them see their grandfather. So I'm wrestling with that a little bit, but I know that I need to do the right thing also, because they need to know their family. So that's a bit of transparency about me also. So I got to take that step. This is the first time they've come to the South. So I want to connect everyone. I'll connect them on my side, but I got to connect them on their dad's side also. Yeah.
So when you're working, working this, the best security blanket is respect. Now, you define respect. We can't sit here and come and tell you in a session what respect look like. Like Avis just said, yo, man, oh boy, now we ain't finna,
And that's the
but
perfect
this-
world.
That's
Yes.
the perfect world. Doesn't work that way. Also, in our session, let me tell you something. You're gonna get, hopefully you can learn
Next
something. The
slide.
way we like to run our sessions is that you learn from each other. Okay, me sitting here talking to you, this, that, another, I'm gonna give it to you Feliciano's Lewis way, but I wouldn't have told you like Avis just said. I wouldn't have shared what my man just said. So even what I just did was totally transparent, because that's one of the first times that I really didn't tear up when I talk about him. But at the same time, now my wife and I are co-parenting, and I got to get back to the house because I just picked up his 6-year-old son that we actually co-parent now with his mom. We found out about him on the day he killed himself. He was 3 years old. And now all I get to hear is uncle, and I love TT. And we have to be careful with that, because when I picked him up the other day, I can't wait to see TT. Boy, how about I'm here picking you up? You better love me too. But anyway,
Now
that's
you are-
co-parenting.
Now you all have the definition what co-parenting. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt. If you wanted to,
Yeah.
okay. Man, this is so much. I'm like, whoop. I'm also a co-parent. I grew up in a co-parenting home. And what's coming to mind right now is also healing, and this idea of parents working together, and that if we're not healed and our mental, emotional health is not a priority, then the children suffer. And so, I see that, and also respect. So one thing that I'm dealing with as a co-parent of a 12-teen daughter, and being a girl daughter, is this idea of how my daughter watches her mother interact with me
Wow. Yeah.
and how that influences our relationship. And so if I feel like, dang, I'm not getting listened to, I'm not getting respected, my opinions don't so much matter, and my daughter is seeing these interactions, how do I navigate that with my daughter without being the helicopter dad, you know what I mean? We're still holding space where we can build and bond, but also I'm trying to you 12, you coming on these preteen years, and there's some things that I know about young men and boys that I want to prepare you for. And so I just think about what more we can be doing with the help of institutions like Friend of Court, to really, not require, but really support that healing of co-parents. Because at the end of the day, if mom is unwilling to have conversations or meet dad halfway, or vice versa, because there's some blockages, then it feels almost like an impossible hurdle.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that as a practitioner, also working with dads who are mom has literally told me there's nothing she's going to do to co-parent with me. And so how do we work around that?
It takes a team, especially
Yeah.
with teenagers. These
And
teenagers are
especially, and we
different.
didn't even talk about diagnosis of mothers or children, and like, so, oh man, how do we co-parent with a mother who has a bipolar diagnosis? Sorry, that was.
No, you good. And somebody, I think I heard somebody say church. I'm gonna tell you something a little bit better than church. How about church and you got to get professional help?
Yes.
If I'm not
And that's-
healed,
And that's gonna be hard.
That's
Some
gonna
people,
be
it's hard
hard.
to do. But yeah,
because you can't control, and as men, you know, we want to control. You're not going to be able to control how she goes through it. You only can do yours. One of my buddies said to me the other day, and I thought it was very profound. He said, "My relationship with you shouldn't have anything to do with what I am as a dad." So you said, huh? Made you think, huh? He said, my relationship with you does not form who I am as a dad. And one of the things in being in education, Chris done bought something from Atlanta he had no business with, and it's over here.
Yeah, I was like, all right.
Oh,
Well, I thought it was the lady right here. What's going on? Where's it?
So-
That's him.
And I used to tell, one of the slides I have in my fatherhood presentation, stop asking dads why they're not apart and probably ask that mom. And I would also tell my kids, I had a real deep conversation with one of my teenagers. He was talking about his dad was getting out. He was wanting to talk to him. And I said, he was like, no, I'm done with him, this, that, and another. I said, hold up. I think I want you to go home and talk to your mama. Well, she's sitting here such and said, no. Ask mama, can you have a real conversation with her? Not disrespectful or anything, and ask him why she feels that way. Because guess what that young man had done? He put a backpack on of everything that she had said, and he was wearing it. And he couldn't even tell me why. So here you are, a 17-year-old boy that's getting ready to go out into a real ugly world, y'all, that he is carrying, like Dr. Thomas said, that baggage.
Mhm.
And so not only does he have his small carry-on, he got, like Dr. Thomas' bag, the 70-pound bag that always got to go into the heavy session when we travel. And this young man is carrying it.
And I like to talk about, you know, when we talk about co-parenting, I always think of the effective communication part. You got to have communication because that is the issue and concern. But also, let's look a little further than that. The young children are going to grow up. They're going to start dating. And sometimes they date based on their mother and father relationship. So I always tell the parents now, when you do that, would you want them to marry the dad that you know, someone like your dad, the boys, someone like your mom? So you really need to take a look at that, because if not, you're going to have a whole mess. They're going to be living back with you.
Right. One of the things I heard TD Jake say, and all y'all done seen the thing where he talks about if the man is at home, he don't make no money, and y'all seen that one? Go look at the whole thing of it, because he's actually talking to some people. And the young lady, she actually just got a divorce, has 3 kids, and she was on the stage and and he's that, and he said to her, he left you. He did not leave his kids.
Right. Right.
And then the other thing that he said was very profound. He said, when you talk about the dog, the puppies bark.
Right.
The puppies bark.
So that's very profound. And then I'm gonna come to you. Yes, yes. Sir.
Yes, you're talking about dating. That reminds me, I have 2 girls, 15 and 17 now. And yeah, I have my 15-year-old always hanging out with me. The 17-year-old, very introvert, so she stays in the
Like I
home.
said,
Right? And so the 15-year-old, one thing that I've learned, and I want to encourage us practitioners and fathers as well, is to continue working on our mental health and our healing journey. Because when my daughter starts talking bad about her mother, I kind of want to guide her through that conversation and not add to it. I want my daughter to grow, be as healthy as possible, and have a healthy relationship with her mother.
Yes.
possible as well.
Right.
So whenever
Right.
she decides to date, she doesn't have resentment and anger towards her mom. So I'm always doing the most with that. But sometimes, again, the mother makes it hard for me. Sometimes like, oh my God, I can't.
Because that's
explain
going to
that.
be hard for her to get a relationship later
Right.
on with a partner.
Right.
Because they hold on to that. And if
Right.
they don't get eventually talking through and seeing someone, they're going to hold on to that. So always, that's another thing we need to tell the other half also.
Good morning. My name is Luisa, and I also co-parent with 3 different dads.
Oh, wow.
I know. I was also a teen mom.
Okay.
And my father was an unavailable father, emotionally and physically. So that's why it impacted my relationships with man. And I'm trying to break a pattern. So with my 3rd child, because my 2nd child developed chronic depression. And it was just like that, back and forth arguments. We didn't understand our own, transgenerational trauma and the trauma that we haven't solved ourselves. And it was not until my 2nd child when I was recognizing what is my part in this dynamic? What should I do? What should I take responsibility of? And instead of continue blaming the other party. And as a woman in fatherhood, that is very challenging as well. But then we get to understand the other side that we don't get to see. So some things become visible. And I think, the challenging is that the other parent hasn't been able to see the trauma that he needs to solve. So I started having therapy myself, and I will continue having therapy probably until the day I die, because you don't end, right? But then I have enhanced communication skills and tools that will help that interaction with the other parent, understanding that whatever response he has is not because of me. It's not because he's doing it hard for me. He's doing it hard for himself because he doesn't have the capacity of see his own ego and try to solve what he needs to solve, which I'm not responsible for. Yeah.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
Yes, thank you.
good.
Thank you. And I like that you're using those tools.
Yes.
Yes, I like that. I like
And
it.
I also like how you said, if possible, or as possible, because you can't control it.
Yes.
You cannot control it. So we have to make sure that we actually looking at that.
Louis, go.
What's that?
Go ahead.
So be transparent again. I want to follow up of what you were saying too of and also you the connection with the parents. If you guys don't like each other, like my daughter's mom is she's an alcoholic, and my daughter speaks very she doesn't like her, but I don't follow with the conversation like, oh yeah, you shouldn't like your mom. I'm like, you know what? Give her grace, pray for her. You know what I mean? Pray that she gets better. You know what I mean? Pray that she gets out of her stagnancy. I don't support, my daughter's feelings. I listen to her, but I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe one day she'll change. Maybe one day she'll stop
Right.
doing what she was doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I want my daughter to see me in the light like, damn, my dad, he can't, why he don't like my mom the way she treated me? You know what I'm saying? And I also, in 2011, I lost my son at 16 years old to cancer. And me and his mother had a real, like, we would just go at it a lot. And I used to always tell him, like, let's stop arguing in front of Ruben. Like, stop doing that.
Right.
And the day, 4 days before he passed, he's in his hospital bed. He was about to go into surgery to see what kind of brain tumor he had. And I'm sitting on one side, and his mother's sitting on the other side. And I'm like, you all right, Rube? Everything? I said, you're going to be fine. I prayed over him. Then he was like, Dad, this is the best moment I have right now is y'all not, I got my mother and my father and y'all not arguing.
And that's all they asked
That's all we
for.
needed.
Yeah.
And then he passed a week later.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But it was just like,
Yes.
wow, but they pay attention. You know what I mean? They pay attention to,
Right,
so
right.
I wanted to say that.
Having both there. Y'all, is this good? Are y'all enjoying this? Okay, because I can give you all kind of numbers.
And we
that
may
you
not
can go
follow these
pull up.
slides. I can send you all the slide
Yeah.
if you need it. So we just kind of, yeah.
Right. Well, I can give you all kind of numbers, and I'm talking about they don't change. But to actually hear some of the things that people going through. So I heard mental health. I heard communication. I heard actually lifting that other person up for your child. Because, y'all, when it comes down to it, ain't about me, it ain't about her.
Mm-mm.
It's about having a healthy child that
Next
can
slide.
actually deal with something. So I just want to make sure you all are good in this, because some people, they want the numbers and all that, but you can go pull that up on when you're flying back home. But to actually have conversations, I really hope this is helping.
Mhm. And of course, we have the challenges, and we kind of flipped from the slides because I know we're short on time today too, but these are some of the common challenges that we have. Emotional residue from the past relationship. Now, that's what you're bringing in there. And now, should the child have to worry about that? Differing parenting styles, power struggles, influence of a new partner. Now, y'all should have gotten that straight already. Or family, and then also legal visitation issues.
Right.
And all of that we're impacting on the
Your
child.
co-parent. And if you-
Because,
Go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
Because if you think about this ain't only from that relationship with that other person, y'all. That can come from the house. My wife issue was her dad. And every time you look around, she's trying to put me in some picture frame to look like her dad. I'm not him. I'm not him. So it can come from a whole nother relationship. Same situation. She got raped. She felt like he didn't protect her. So even her PhD don't cover that up, because it still comes up sometime in our marriage. Okay? And I'm being transparent. I think she has a theological degree. It didn't cover that up. So when it comes down to it, yes, we talked about it, but we're in love, we this, that, and other. But now we're in counseling after 12 years. Because then also too, we brought this little boy in that I'm talking about, that we got different in parenting styles. He loved TT, but Uncle saying, look here, get over there and go sleep. It's 11:30, you ain't got no business on the iPad. It's a different parenting style. The power struggles. And I'm gonna go to the new parenting. With my girl's mother. I'm thinking everything okay. I invited her to the wedding. Y'all, I invited her to the wedding. I'm thinking everything is good. She bought me my vows. I forgot them at home. She stayed in our house for the wedding. Y'all, I'm thinking everything good. My ex, yeah. The girls were gonna make
Pearls.
my girls had gotten used to having a room at our house. So they were going to make their mom sleep on the floor. My wife went in and said, no, she's sleeping in the bed. You see it? It's coming now. So here we are. I think it was a year later. I get a phone call. It's time for them to come see me for Thanksgiving. Y'all, I was on the church ground. But the word that woman said to me but the one thing that she basically said was, you upped over me and my kids. Now, let me tell you something. And let me tell you something. You heard me say that their name is Cash App and Zelle. I don't have no money. Y'all come back to me for some money right now. I'm going to tell you, go out there and get the water from the faucet. I don't have no money. But I had to come back and I said, hold on. I ain't never effed over my kids. My kids don't want. And they'll tell you, my kids don't want for stuff. You hear me? And I said, guess what? I've apologized to you 1,000 times. What do you want, blood? It took her a week, but when we met again, so she brought me the girls. She didn't speak to me when she dropped them off. But it took me a week that she came back and she said, I want to apologize because you're not lying. She said, I was putting on a dress the other day that you bought. Because one of the things I did when I sent money for the girls, I always sent every month an extra 100 for her to go out to dinner or go buy herself something because she was a hell of a mom. But this other person is coming in. They came to Atlanta, and I'm going to tell you, she basically said, I saw the house with the stairs. Brianna always wanted house with the stairs. I saw the BMW stand outside. Brianna always wanted that. It's like you left me and you got away scot-free. And now this is what you're doing.
So I do have a question, because we've talked about who's co-parenting in here. What do you do when you bring the other person in? How is it? Is it like Avis just said? Is it bells and whistles?
Yep. I say, I don't know I was married to, I had 3 beautiful daughters and a son. My 2 oldest daughters have the same mother and my youngest daughter does not. So when I had
They want you to use the mic.
3-year-old.
They want you, we hybrid too? Yeah, hybrid also.
When I had my third daughter, my 2-year-old, it was animosity from my oldest 2's mother. This is even after we had been divorced for almost 7 years, haven't been in the household for 7 years, and she had another son with her current husband, and she still felt animosity towards me and my new daughter. For what reason, I don't know. It's been almost 10 years that we have not been together, not been anything. So, excuse me, she was saying animosity towards my daughters, my oldest 2 daughters, about her little sister. And I had to sit her down and say, hey, this is unacceptable. But then when I set her down, her new husband decided he wanted to input in also. Okay. So then on top of that, I said, okay, well, fine. We can be adults about it. All 4 of us can sit down at a round table. Right. And then we've still had the animosity and the beef and the things like I've even scared, I'm ashamed to say it, but I've fought her husband over, the tension and the disrespect is not alone to my daughter, but to, my current girlfriend and the mother of my third daughter. And I would not allow it because when I was with their mother, I didn't allow the disrespect towards her from outside family members, friends, anything else. And I just think it's crazy because she still has a power struggle over me and my daughters and the animosity over my daughter because she wanted us to be a family. And it didn't work like that. It didn't work like that. And, I saw it and I walked away. You mostly see women walking away from it, but I was the man who walked away from the marriage, the house, the big old house we had on the hill, the cars, everything that had the lifestyle, that, the picket fences and everything. I walked away from it and started over. And now, by the grace of God, my house is bigger. My cars are better. My lifestyle is better. And she does not like it because she sees everything, like you said, the car, the house, the big house with, the pits and everything else. She sees what she wanted and she doesn't have it now. Her house is crumbling and mine is rising. So I still deal with that animosity from her. Like I said, it's been 9 years since we've been married now and divorced and everything like that. So I see it, I still deal with it, and it's crazy. Like I said, she's got her life and her career with her new husband, but it's always animosity towards me and mine because it's not the way the picture she wanted.
And how are the children?
The children, my oldest sees it. Like I've been the guy the parent that, has struggled with the depression. I've actually I tried to take my life over the depression because my ex-wife didn't let me see the kids. She kept them away from me, but I had to let my kids grow and see that. I couldn't be the influence over them because I didn't have them enough. Like the courts wouldn't give me the help that I needed. Mm-hmm. And that's what actually made me step into the role that I'm in now because of what I've been through. Mm-hmm. And I see the young guys coming up now that doesn't have that help. Right. So, but yeah, I've seen it. My middle child hates it because she's getting pulled between her mother telling her, oh, don't you want to see your little brother? Oh, mm-hmm. Don't you want to do this, this, mm-hmm. and this? But my oldest, she sees it and she says, okay, Dad, I want to come with you. I don't want to live here anymore. Mm-hmm. I want to come with you. So I see where it's coming from. It plays a part, like that picture with the daughter standing, looking up at one father, one parent and the other parent. That is my middle child currently. She's getting pulled and I'm trying to not to let, pull back. I'm trying to let her see it, but she's only 10. Now my 15-year-old sees it. She's been through 15 years, her mother trying to control and everything like that. So my 15-year-old sees it and she's like, all right, Dad, I see what you've been talking about. I've never downplayed my ex-wife to my daughters, whatever, I always encourage them. Hey, have you talked to your mother today? When I have them, mm-hmm. Talk to your mother today. I just took my daughter to New Orleans for a national tournament in volleyball. Mm-hmm. Every day that we was down there, have you talked to your mother? Have you FaceTime your mother, right. Tell you how you did today? What you did today?
Continue to do that. Right. Mhm.
So I can make sure they still have a great relationship, even though my daughter has the animosity towards her mother
Mhm.
and doesn't want to be there. That is still your mother, and you still have to respect her and be with her.
Exactly.
I think that when we talk about co-parenting, first of all, thank you practitioners for sharing.
Mm.
I think that sometimes practitioners become what I refer to as the wounded healers.
Right. Mhm.
But you got to make sure that your wounds are healed, even as a practitioner. I'm going to say something that again, in the space of being a female practitioner to fathers, is how you start a thing. How you start a thing is how that thing works out.
That's exactly right.
And a lot of times we as co-parents don't see, because of whatever reason we don't see,
Mhm.
or we do see after a time, then it can be difficult because then we have children, right? And so you start to see and you're like, whoa, what is this that I've gotten into? But now we are in the space that we have children. And so especially for fathers, there is systems. Now, does it take a long time to fight in those systems? Absolutely. I would say as a female practitioner, do not allow your children to see all of that. That is a lot for
And to feel that
and
they
to
have
feel it because it is a
sides.
and to choose
Yeah.
because it is a lot. So you may have to use a court system to fight.
Yeah.
You may have to and not fight in a negative way, but you use the court system to leverage what you need. Does it take a lot of time? Absolutely. I've spent years with S's, with fathers, going back and forth to court. But in the end, as a practitioner, I always say win. And that's what I say to my fathers, just walk this out with me. This is going to be a 2-year journey. Are you ready? And so the same way that mother has to control her emotions, dad has to learn to control his emotions. The same way we have to learn new communication styles with each other. Like sometimes just teaching the dad and say, okay, here's your communication style. Here's how you handle conflict. This is how she handled conflict. You see it now. So those kind of foundational things are not going to change overnight without some cognitive behavior, treatment and therapy. But how do you respond to someone who is bipolar? I'm going to share something with you about that because it is family systems, because then we begin to navigate within the family. So then I'm going to find a cousin that is not bipolar.
Right.
That when she up, the cousin gonna be able to say she good right now. Go ahead, we can get the child and we can work it out. Okay, she plummeting right here. Let's wait a minute. But getting that whole family involved for the sake of the children. So how do you navigate those family members who think like you, who rock like you, and then you can navigate with them so that co-parenting really becomes family parenting, if that makes sense.
Right. And I have several strategies, and I'll share the PowerPoint within that. And a lot of the strategies is exactly that, getting that person, because it could be that mediator in between that can talk her down and can understand, or talk him down to understand. And so then we have, of course, questionnaires and family assessments, and also to identify those red flags before they come up, so you can kind of pull them on down.
Right. And so when Doc is saying that, I'm going to basically tell you myself, I am in counseling. 6 years, she's on speed dial anytime I need her, because sometimes Arnold pops up. My name is Feliciano, but sometimes Arnold pops up. And I didn't realize that until my brother killed himself. He liked to be called Rock. His name was Ricardo. Rock put the gun to his head. Ricardo would have been thinking about something different. So we just had a situation at the house, and my wife said, "You attacked me." I told her how I felt. Okay. When I was in counseling, my counselor said, "But Feliciano, did you ask her why did she say you attacked her? Let her speak on why you attacked her." So when I went to her, she said, "You sound like my daddy. You sound like my daddy." And
Those daddy issues.
Daddy issues. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I hate to do this. If you can't go to a female practitioner, because sometimes Avis Files, we bought her Pandemic from Ohio. She zoomed in. She charged us real good. She ain't kill us. We still in it. But she talked to our family. When we were talking, when I went in and started talking about what fathers needed, they said I was female bashing. They went immediately to it. Avis came in, and if you ever heard her story, so I'm listening at her, and I'm just clapping inside for her because I know her story. What she brought out was their issues.
Mhm.
We had our mental health person. Head Start, you have to have your mental health person on staff. We brought our mental health person in, and actually, I think we signed up about 30.
Matter of fact, and still moving, because we've had other situations that occur after that with the hurricanes and everything else. But a lot was identified. Molestation was identified. Domestic abuse was identified. If it wasn't identified, just working with, because we added we were now strong, we were making a culture of fatherhood. So we were doing a culture. So now it's, how are you going to work with these dads? And we figure out what the blinders were. You got your stuff going on. And you need to handle your stuff and figure out what's going on in order to invite the fathers into the program, because you haven't identified what you had going on. So, we have to self-check, self-regulate, and adjust ourselves, even as females too. I tell that we talked one time before at a conference, and we had a parent, a mom to come up, a female, and she was angry and she went to going. And I had to touch her on her arm and say, hey, calm down, because she was so angry. And so, you know what? That's what the father of the other spouse saw also.
That's what I did, y'all. Because she was coming towards me. I backed up. And she took her. I backed up. She was angry. But guess what? It was coming from a man. So when you're doing that, we actually had a session in our centers. Y'all, it's a culture now that our teachers point out stuff. And they bring us in. We have to do our sessions with our staff now. And a lot of times we end up having to pull the staff afterwards because they're crying. Or they done took on, and y'all know what men do and stuff like that. Y'all know what we do. No, bro, I got you. So what you saying is, and so I had to basically talk for this young man at the session because he wasn't going to talk. Oh, but she was talking. She was talking. She ain't tell me how she was on Facebook, all that. But he, and he wasn't going to tell it because he protecting, his baby's mom. But we had so much that we actually had to come in and y'all deal with our staff. So I would say with that, if you all dealing with kids, what are you going to do when Tommy comes in and Tommy's not having a good day? And he already wasn't good in school. He hated school. So he's coming in to bring these kids because the boyfriend car done broke down, and now you call me.
Yeah, we deal with a lot of that also. We talked to the parent at at one of the sites, and the dad basically said he didn't know how to parent. And she knew, the mom. So instead of them working together through this, he was suffering a lot to the point that the child was coming to the point that a referral was being done because the misbehavior, the hitting, he was hitting other children, and it was a whole mess. And we had to sit down and talk. But as we talked, we had the teachers in there and the family services. It became a whole counseling session because the teachers started talking about the situation that they were going through. So we had a lot going through that on that particular meeting, a lot being done and a lot of healing to be done also. Yes, ma'am.
So I have obviously on both sides since I co-parent also, but so for programming, a lot of our families are court ordered into our parenting program. And so there's a lot of domestic violence, substance abuse, all kinds of things, right? And so we're serving mom and kids on one end, serving dad and kids together on another end. And we're going to their court hearings, helping them both navigate the system and pushing for dad to at least have some type of visitation so he can keep that attachment and bond with his children. But then, so that's like the professional side. But then when people ask me like, well, how do you do it? And I'm like, I can give you professional advice, but I haven't figured out how to do it personally on my level because like the mental health was brought up. So my ex is bipolar and he was abusive. So legally, he's not allowed to see the kids unsupervised.
Mm.
And originally, it was going to be, he had to pay somebody to do those supervision visits.
Mhm.
And I knew that he wouldn't do that because he won't even pay child support. Like, unless I'm doing exactly what he wants, the way he wants it, he is not going to help me with them at all. But the kids still want to see him and they still love him. He's their dad. So in court, I agreed to have, and he's very estranged from his family. He doesn't want anything to do with his family. So my parents and my brother agreed to be supervisors so that I wouldn't have to go and be that person. But sometimes I end up having to be that person. But then he has started like, well, I don't want to see you and I don't want to see your family because I don't like y'all. So I'm just not going to see the kids at all. So initially I'm like, well, that's your choice, whatever. I don't care. But then months and months go by and the kids are like, why hasn't daddy called me? Why hasn't he come to see me? Why hasn't he come to our games? So I break down and I reach back out and I'm like, hey, just come to their games, just, whatever. So that starts happening. But then we talked about like introducing the other person or the new person. So I found out he has a new girlfriend. She has children. They're living together. So I asked him, can we all meet up? Because I'm like, well, maybe I can use her to help him see the kids more. If she's safe and I feel like she can make sure my kids don't get hurt or he doesn't lose his temper, then maybe they can start going with him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, no, you're going to investigate her life and you don't need anything to do with her and she's none of your business. And I'm like, I'm trying to help you see your kids more.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've heard a lot from dads, like the mom, but on the other side, like how do you break through that to help him see, like, I'm not trying to keep, and he says a lot, you keep my kids from me. No, the court has kept your kids supervised. I'm not keeping them from you. It just has to be supervised for a reason. It's not for no reason. So like, I don't know how to help him see that part of it.
You probably can.
It's a lot of denial.
So-
It's a lot of denial and a lot of that pushing it back on you. He gonna have to he got to step up.
Yeah.
It's a lot of that.
And so then I start dating again and I'm like, hey, I asked to meet your girlfriend. Would you like to meet him before I'm dating him for a year before I even think about introducing him to my kids. Do you want to meet him? No. And if you bring him around, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to make you watch. I'm like, all this stuff. And I'm like, whoa, like, how do you co-parent with that?
I'm going to go again and I'm going to say family counseling.
No.
Family counseling. You're trying to help everyone, but you may not be able to. You're going to need some professional skills, tools. Doc keeps saying tools to deal with whatever he has going on for you.
I'm going,
Okay.
I'm going to keep saying, you keep doing what
You-
you're doing. You can't call him to the, and eventually he's going to figure that out. And I hope it's not too late
Too late.
because the children will start walking away from you.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And they've already kind of seen, even though I try very hard, like not to even talk about him in front of them or any of the dynamics going on. There have been times where he's called me and I've answered and he's just screaming. Like, I thought he was calling to talk to the kids. So I answered the phone.
Mhm.
And my son is 9. And one day he just picked up the phone and he was like, stop talking to my mom like that, and hung up.
And you have to set boundaries too.
And I was like,
Yeah.
you cannot just take my phone like that. And now we have to have a whole nother conversation
Right.
about how you're feeling.
Right.
Because he was upset and he's like, I don't want anything to do with him. And I'm like, what goes on between me and him is between
Yeah.
me and him, and it should not
Yeah.
affect how you feel about him as your dad.
Right.
So yeah, it's very, on a professional level, I'm pushing for dads. And then I'm over here like, what do I do with this?
But it
Like,
takes two people, and you can't
takes
say,
two people.
everyone, I hate to say it that way, but it takes two people. All I can say is just keep encouraging, doing what you need to do. I hope
Yes.
eventually he falls in line, but I hope it's not going to be too late.
Well, Doc, it kind of goes to what he said about eventually they're gonna see it.
Right.
So I think you're trying a lot. You've taken on a lot. You got to set some boundaries.
Yeah.
And the whole thing of do not let your profession, because I'm hearing that you're letting your profession kind of, some people just not there. Some
And-
people just not there.
Okay, so we're gonna have to wrap it up now. This has been so good. And of course, you didn't get to see all of the slides, but we will send you the slides. I think my contact information is in the book. If not, if you can come up to me, if you can scan my card, and we can go from there. But you all have been an awesome group, and I have learned a
Thank you
lot
so
from you
much.
all also. So thank you all so very, very much. Give yourselves a hand.